All right.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to our Empower Professional Teams Leveraging AI for Business Success. This is the second part of a three-part series, which we are running here at UAGC, the University of Arizona Global Campus. We hosted our first session a few weeks ago on April 3rd, and I do want to place into chat the link for the video playback, just in case you were not able to attend that first session. We had fun. It was engaging. We learned a lot, and we're passing that information along to you as well. So do copy that link in the chat so you can check out part one. We are recording the session. After the session, once the video is edited, I will send out a link to this session so you will have this one as well. So if we can go to the next slide, the third session will be on May 15th, and that one will focus on using AI for leadership. All of those in the leadership capacity, or if you are moving to the leadership capacity. So first, before we jump into the content, I would like participants to introduce themselves from UAGC. First off, my name is Dr. Karen Ivy. I am Assistant Dean of our Technology Studies organization. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Tahira Danishi.
I'm Dr. Tahara Danishi, and I'm Program Chair for Master of Science in Technology Management.
And
And
Mr.
hello, my name is Michael Hayden. I am the program chair for the Master of Information Systems Management and the Bachelor of Arts in Business Information System.
Fantastic. Next slide, please. The agenda. So for our agenda today, we are going to start off and talking about the use of AI tools in business environments. We then, our special treat, and again, thanks for holding on, everyone, we'll hear from our guest speaker, Dr. Samir Solomon. Dr. Samir Solomon will share his keys to business success as he works with members of his team in using various AI tools. And next slide. Then continuing on with the agenda, we will get into more practical hands-on use of the AI tool. We're going back to Copilot. Michael will actually give a demo in using Copilot and how you can integrate using that particular AI tool into your business practices. And Tahara will talk about what's happening within various business worlds and how they are incorporating AI into their business environment as well. With some time, we'll go into some interactive sessions. You can tell us what you may want Copilot to pull for you, or even ChatGPT or another AI tool if we can quickly get our hands and access on it. And then we'll open it up for Q&A. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. Next slide. So Forbes Advisors did a survey, and they did a survey across organizations, businesses inside of the United States to find out just how are businesses incorporating AI into their business practices. And what they found out, the most popular applications of AI include customer service, with 56% of respondents using AI for that purpose. Cybersecurity, we have some attending with us today who are in the cybersecurity area using AI for that purpose. Fraud management, about 51% of businesses are using AI in that capacity. And then you can look through the chart to see how AI is used in all the different types of ways as well. If we go to the next slide and looking at what are businesses doing when they use AI, ways AI is helping them to improve customer service? Well, businesses are using AI to improve in the customer service area. And AI is really playing a really large part to enhance customer experiences across all different types of touch points. So according to the survey, according to the Forbes Advisor survey, 73% of businesses use or plan to use AI-powered bots for instant messaging, and most of us have used and interfaced with those bots as we work with various vendors. And moreover, 61% of companies use AI to optimize emails while 55% deploy AI for personalized services such as product recommendations. With AI increasingly being integrated throughout the various business areas and diverse customer interaction channels, the overall customer experience is being more efficient and personalized. And so, along the lines of being more efficient and personalized, it is my pleasure, to introduce our guest speaker for today. Our guest speaker who uses AI within his work environment, within his practice, Dr. Samir Solomon. A little bit about Dr. Samir Solomon before we ask him to open up his mic. Dr. Solomon is a top physician at Sigma Pain Clinic, a dual board certified in the fields of anesthesiology and pain management. In addition to Sigma Pain Clinic, Dr. Solomon is an expert panelist on the Texas Medical Board. Dr. Solomon completed his undergraduate education at the University of Texas at Austin in biomedical engineering with top honors. And from there, he went on and completed his medical studies at the University of Texas Southwestern. He completed his pain management fellowship at the University of Texas Health San Antonio. So, Dr. Solomon leads the integration and the use of artificial intelligence tools in his practice, and he'll let us know exactly how he has everyone in his organization using the AI tools. With this, Dr. Solomon, we ask you to come to the mic to share your keys to business success with the use of AI tools. Dr. Solomon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ivy. Hope everyone's doing okay. So I'm going to go through, I have a pain management practice. We're 5 providers. Well, 7 providers, sorry. It's a young practice, but as things come along, new technologies, we try to utilize them as much as we can because especially in medicine and most fields, time is money. And so that's what I try to emphasize. If you can have AI do something and cut down your time in 90%, then that would help the practice, help the patients. It helps everybody. And so I'm just going to go through. I've created a brief PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you how we use AI for our practice, leveraging AI in pain management practice. And so basically, I'm going to talk about how we use it, all the different ways, from our procedural handbook to insurance companies to drafting notes, even patient consents, how we use it for payroll. A lot of what we do, everything, as you'll realize, is integrated, and I'll go through some examples of how we do that. So briefly, say it plays a big role, as I just said. And what I tell my staff, and I make them all have a ChatGPT account. They have to have one. Either ChatGPT, and all our email addresses are linked to Grammarly, which is another one which I tell them no email goes out of our practice without being run through Grammarly, which you can type what you want it to write for you, or you can put in ChatGPT. But basically, it allows us to come across more professional. Before we were doing that, I saw some emails and typing mistakes, etc. It just doesn't look professional. So everything, we pay for a Grammarly account, we have ChatGPT, and the staff is trained. I'm like, if you don't know how to use it, I've got to see you use it, especially the people on the back end, which are dealing with insurance companies, sending out emails, just dealing with all sorts of the business aspects. I want everything run through ChatGPT. One example is a procedural handbook, and I'm going to show you how I use this. I'm just going to open up Safari. So one thing we do is, especially when we have new people on board, we want a procedural handbook so they can look through the handbook, study how do we handle different situations. And as a business owner, I don't have time to write a whole handbook, and I don't want to just copy somebody else's because I want it custom to how we do things. So I have a little tab under Chat GPT here, if I can show you, right? And so this is our procedural handbook. So I'll write something, for example, as when we do something, if add a section about same day procedures. If someone wants procedures same day, how do we reply? Because sometimes staff were saying, oh yeah, sure, we can do it. And it's like, well, not all the time, and then patients would get upset. And so it's about patient care. So I tell it what to write, and I say, if someone asks for a same day procedure on the first visit, sometimes over the phone, the response should be, most plans require authorization for same day procedures. We can do our best to get them scheduled if you're, so that way no promises are made, but that way when we have patients that are onboarded, this procedural handbook, I don't have time to write a detailed handbook, and it writes it out so professionally that as every time there's like a mistake and we have a meeting, we add to this handbook, and AI can go through and modify past sections as long as you have the same essentially thread open in AI. It can modify existing ones, say, hey, you already have this, we'll go through and modify. And so it allows us to onboard patients much faster. And if we can not onboard patients, onboard staff much faster. And if we can onboard staff much faster, that saves us money, in onboarding, because they'll be a lot more streamlined. I was going to give an example. So insurance communications, we do a lot of procedures, and just like every other medical practice, I think, that does procedures, it's subject to denials by the insurance companies. So we do the procedure, whether or not it requires an authorization, we submit the claim, and then we can get a denial. And if we have that denial, one way is to have a staff member spend 45 minutes writing a letter back on why this procedure met the guidelines. The other way, if we know it met all their guidelines, and then we write a letter back to them, but ChatGPT can do it in a fraction of the time. So I was actually going to demonstrate really quick how that happens. So pain management, one of the standard procedures we do is an epidural steroid injection. Someone has pain, we go in, we put a steroid over the nerve causing the pain, and ideally they get relief. They come back, we submit the claim on the back end, and let's say United says, well, didn't meet our guidelines. So what do we do? So this is where I train our back end, saying, okay, you got to use AI to figure this out. I'm going to just open up a Chromebook page to show how easy AI allows us to reply to that. So I'm going to go and just type in United Healthcare epidural steroid guidelines. Here are their guidelines, PDF. So the staff will come in and say, okay, these are the guidelines. It's considered necessary when all the criteria are met. So I say, okay, you copy those guidelines, because I already know, I looked over it, that we met those guidelines. Sure, you'll attach the record. Then you're going to go here in ChatGPT. You can open a new one and you can write out. Let's see, you can just type in, these. I gotta remove this. Hang on, sorry. There we go. These are United Healthcare, or let's just say UHC guidelines for an epidural steroid injection. And I'll just paste these because this is straight from there. And I'll say, please draft a note appealing their denial for patient XXX. All of these guidelines were met. So, we type that in and it'll draft it out. So that, it will obviously attach the records, et cetera, attach the MRI, but the staff can go easily fill that out, draft this professional letter to United, which says it meets all their guidelines, because we just found that online, and also because it did meet their guidelines. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it in the first place. But it writes out this very professional letter, and most times it can resolve it. And there's no way my staff in 45 seconds could have drafted such a professional letter. And then they obviously have the letterhead, etc. The other thing I train them to do is, within ChatGPT, is you can create different chats. So you can create your own GPT. For example, if you're constantly doing these denials and such, I say, well, go create, your own GPT for pain management clinic. So this one, if we use this, is trained for our practice. I trained it. We're already at pain management, so I don't have to do the intro, etc. It knows the way I like it, except, the way I do it. So I make the staff learn this, because if I spend 30 minutes training them, we're going to save hours and hours and hours of their build time to draft these denials. So I wanted to give that example about how easy it is to just draft that note. And it'll help the practice, because most times when we do something like that, we get it overturned, and eventually get it paid, which turns out to money for the practice. Drafting medical notes. Most procedures I do a lot of the same procedures over and over. But occasionally I'll need to do a procedure that I don't do over and over. I don't have a template for it. And rather than me trying to dictate and draft a template, I'll say, okay, I just made one here. Please draft a medical note for knee injections. I did this under X-ray, etc. I'm going to copy this. I put 1 cc of contrast, 40 milligrams. I'll just go in Chat GPT. I'll type it in my little pain management template, the chat I made. I'll say, draft me a note real quick, and then I'll just modify it as needed. So instead of me having to write out everything like, no complications, this, that, date, I'll just have Chat GPT make the notes. I'll obviously look over it. I'll put in the note, and that's done. And the less time I spend doing notes, the more times I can do, I have for other things. Because obviously in most businesses, time is money. And if I can spend less time doing stuff that AI can do for me, we'll do better in the long run as a business. And it'll decrease frustrations. So it can generate procedure notes. It can modify notes, and it ensures everything is accurate. All the punctuation is there. Everything sounds professional, and it's done very, very, very quickly. So let's see how that note looked. It came out, it put the name, data, procedure, what medication we used, referring physician, all these indication detail under aseptic conditions after obtaining consent. Obviously, we'll have assigned consent in the charts. Complications none. Everything is there, and that just, I did it while we were chatting, and so I can move on to the next patient, do the next procedure. I don't have to worry about spending too much time on that. So medical notes, insurance companies, patient consents. So a lot of times, especially in medicine, I'll need some sort of generic consent, and rather than, obviously if there's something legal, we'll go through an attorney, but if it's doesn't necessarily have to be something legal, I'm going to use AI to generate that consent. For example, if we need to, a lot of times we'll offer a service that insurance won't cover, and we know they won't cover this service. If there are just a lot of different services that we can do, but we have to notify the patient that, hey, this service or procedure you are going to have done is considered experimental by your insurance company. And if it's Medicare has their own forms, but a lot of the commercial payers, they don't have their own forms. So you're required to let the patient know ahead of time that, hey, you're not billing, we're not going to bill your insurance, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just not considered standard to do a procedure and then say, oh, by the way, your insurance, considers that experimental. So we have to disclose it beforehand. So rather than us, or me preparing a standard consent every time, I'll just have ChatGPT do it. So I just say, this is the draft that I'm going to put in ChatGPT. I wrote it out yesterday. You say, for patients that typically use commercial insurance, please draft a form to be signed by the patient that the procedure is purely cash pay, and we will not be submitting it. No refunds will be given. And I just take it in ChatGPT, draft it out, put it in the same little chat bot that we made. And I know this is my pain management chat bot, Chat GPT bot. So it'll go ahead and make that. And, it's not a purely legal document. This isn't like thousands and thousands of dollars, but it's a few $100s for the procedure. And we got to let them know that, hey, this is a cash pay acknowledgement. We are not submitting it to your insurance company. And if I were to do something like that and try to do it myself or have staff do it, one, I'm either paying the staff, or two, I'm wasting my time, and nobody wants to do that because time's money. And so we just have it make something like that and move on. And sometimes if they speak Spanish and nobody in the office was speaking Spanish, we can just say, okay, please translate that to Spanish. And, I'm not going to, sometimes it's not worth my time to verify everything that it's correctly if it's translated. And again, this isn't for, we're not going to hire an employee based on a ChatGPT contract or a provider, but this gets the idea across that, it's cash pay and their signature, and it was disclosed beforehand. So it writes a very detailed, no refund policy, full payment, et cetera. So cash payment, sometimes a liability release form. Very occasionally, the clinic will have to transport someone, and we're obviously not a transportation agency. And Texas, has their liability release form. So what you can do is you can take a standard legal one, and put in ChatGPT and say, hey, can you modify this for the sake of transportation? And it will quickly modify it rather than me copying, pasting, and trying to edit it myself. I don't have time to do that. And it makes it all very professional. And so we use ChatGPT a lot for that. As I said, for transportation consent, it's legally compliant. For example, last time I actually hired a provider, I needed just a couple sentences changed and modified. And I would just copy those sentences rather than sending it to the attorney and paying a couple $100 just for 1 or 2 sentences. I would just ask ChatGPT to do it and then look at it myself and use common sense. If it makes sense, that's fine. So that's another way it can save money. Payroll management, I use it every couple of weeks when we run payroll to save a lot of time. For example, we have a lot of employees, especially we have 7 providers. And so sometimes instead of trying to deal with Microsoft Excel or something, I'll need the hours converted to decimal points. So for example, I write, John worked 15 hours and 30 minutes. Sometimes the payroll company needs it as 15.5, or Bob worked, I said 17 hours and 22 minutes. I'll need all that converted to decimal quick and easy for me to just copy, paste, put in the spreadsheet and be done. And I'm sure Excel can do it really well, but it took me 30 seconds to type this out. And it would take me a lot longer to mess with an Excel. I copy this, I put this here, and it'll give me everything in decimal points, and I don't have to worry about, dealing with Excel, because I don't want to waste time doing it, because time is money. And a lot of times what I'll do, so I'll say, especially if I'm in a rush, I'll say, forget the intro and how you do it, because I don't care. And you can ask it to be very concise, and it'll just give you the answer. I say, give me the answer in the first line, or give me the numbers in the first line, and then it can do all of it. It's just, sometimes it's a little verbose. So that's how I use it for payroll every 2 weeks. I just copy the spreadsheet that it gives me, and I put it in there to convert it, and then I transfer it back, and it just saved me a lot of time. And I'm, even though Excel can do it, this can do it faster. For business decision making. So for example, one thing we're doing actually next week is we started a lab. And when I'm talking to the representative, obviously it's in their best interest for our practice to purchase the lab. And I just want quick numbers. Sometimes even when I'm on the phone, I wanted to do a quick analysis that I'll go through later and make sure it's correct. But that's another way where it works in business decision making. So I just drafted a note here, which is what I actually used one time for ChatGPT, the numbers I made up. I said, I need to know if it's cost beneficial to bring a laboratory in-house as opposed to sending out labs. This is what we're about to put in ChatGPT. We are estimating, let's say, 800 labs per month with a revenue of $20 per lab. However, it costs us one-time startup fee of $15,000, then an ongoing $2,000 a month maintenance, not including a staff member to run the lab, $40 a week at $20 an hour. Every lab we run costs an additional $4 in supplies. Is it worth it to have a lab? Obviously, that's really simple to figure out. But then sometimes what I did is I actually said, these are the expenses, these are the inputs. How many labs will I need, per year? And sure, I could take a paper and pen and figure it out, or I could have it do it for me. Another way is sometimes if we're doing business decisions and I need to know, is it worth putting a 3% charge on the credit card versus writing a check? I'll actually have it do the math based on taxes, like which is to my advantage. And all this stuff I can do on my own, but this does it 30 times faster. So, or probably more than that. So we'll plunge this number in and it'll show you all how it figured it out. But this is literally what I do. I punch in ChatGPT. I'll put a lot more columns though for in and out. I'm like, tell me, is it worth it? And it does the numbers and I look over it, and most of the times it's right. Almost always it's right. But I will do that several times for a lot of these different things that I don't want to sit down and do the math saying, if I pay a 2.9% credit card fee, is it worth me putting on the credit card based on the points I'm going to get? Sometimes sometimes I actually make more to put it on the credit card fee, because I'll get rewards and may or may not pay taxes on those rewards. So it comes out beneficial, but I use it a ton to figure this out. So it's going over monthly cost, how many is it, and this is going to answer our question, which I just made up. Is it worth it based on these numbers to have a lab? And so it's detailing everything out. And you can go pull up these calculations later. First month loss in the first month, $7,400 ongoing profit loss. I'm actually curious in this situation, is it worth this? We generate a profit of $7,600 per month. Obviously, we would go through and figure out those numbers if they're right or not, because I made them up, yesterday. But I actually did use ChatGPT when we were figuring out, is it worth it to bring a lab in house or not, because of the expense. And it did something like this, and we made the decision to bring a lab in house, which is starting next week. And it's easier than me using a paper and pen or asking someone else to do it. Way easier than that, and cheaper. So as I said, it enables quick analysis of financial data, cost benefit calculations, forecasting market trends. It can be used for that. Empower real-time, insights. As I said, sometimes I remember with that 3%, I'm trying to decide if it's worth it. I'll say, just hang on 1 second. I'll ask ChatGPT, is it worth putting this amount on the credit card or not? And if it tells me yes, I'll pay the 3% fee. If not, I won't. And sometimes I just trust it. There's risk of data bias, obviously, of course. Integrating it may face resistance from traditional monitors and staff members unfamiliar with tools. Everyone that does our back office has to know how to use AI. Otherwise, they're not doing back office, or they're just wasting too much time. Front office, dealing with patients, not as much, but back office, definitely. As I said, it streamlines the creation of procedural handbooks, enables quick drafting, strong formal responses, rapid generation, detailed medical notes, patient consents, payroll. I use it for quick decision-making and overall efficiency. And the more streamlined and smooth it is, patients are happier, because if they need something done, and we need, like I said, a quick note or quick consent, something, or even translation. Sometimes I'll use it for translating if really nobody's there. And you could quickly do it. One time we had a patient that spoke Korean, and we had nobody here that could translate, and we needed the consent, and we just had ChatGPT translate the consent. Obviously, she signed an English one, but then we had her sign one in her language, and it did it. And I don't know if it was correct or not, but it probably is. It's better than trying to find a translator and delaying things like by 2 hours. And anyways, so as I said, we use it in all aspects, and especially the denials. That's the best part. You can quickly, it can analyze thousands and thousands of words, and obviously probably a fraction of a second. So you put in all these guidelines. Sometimes the guidelines won't be that easy. It'll be like 15 pages, and you just copy and paste and say, draft a note saying it met their guidelines. And I read it to make sure it's correct, but I don't want a staff member reading all that, because it'll just take too long. I don't want to read all that. And sometimes I'll actually do that if there was these forms that Health and Human Services put out, and it's like 30 pages, and I was just like, copy paste, put in chat, summarize whatever this says, and I trust it, and I'll skim over the actual one, but I'm gonna trust AI a lot to do what I need to do. And so I think it'll help. It's helped us so far. I hope it can keep helping more. There are some AI tools where it listens to the conversation you have in the office, and then it writes a note for you. I don't do any of that. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I like writing my own notes. But yeah, that's how AI helps. And then I have a little blurb at the end where, if you notice, it says this audience may inquire about the specific AI tools and software used, be ready to address and expect curiosity about the effectiveness of AI. And my little blurb is, this entire PowerPoint was created 100% by AI. I'll show you the blurb I used to write it. I did not do a single slide on my own. I put in this prompt here. Let me find it. And I did not do a single slide on my own. The background, the pictures, the notes, the only thing I modified on this slide was these bottom notes here, what I was going to put in. Everything else was 100% created by AI. I used this tool, but I use a system called plus PowerPoint presentation. So let's see, AI pain management. This is what I put in. I need help making a PowerPoint presentation to show how I use briefly have pain management practice. We use AI to create procedural handbooks for staff, etc. I put that in and it made this entire PowerPoint in a separate note. Again, nothing was modified except the bottom. And so that's another reason, another way it saves me time, because I actually looked over it yesterday and I was like, this is really good. And I'll give examples of how I use it. And yeah, now I'll take any questions.
First of all, Dr. Solomon, this presentation has been fantastic. We say thanks to you and thanks also to AI tools, right? ChatGPT. Okay, it was a question in the chat. I was trying to capture them as they scroll through. Joe asked, could you share more information about how your custom GPT was trained? What documents did you provide as resources for the training?
So you can go under Explore GPTs here and create a GPT, and it'll go through and ask how you want to make it. Make your creative, what would you like to make? And you tell it what you want to make, and it'll so you can type here whatever you do, I am, whatever you saw. For me, I put I'm a pain management physician, et cetera, et cetera. And they give example, I'm going to make a software to format code. So you can create your own little GPT, and then you always have it. So you don't have to train ChatGPT every time about what you want it to do. So that's how you do it. You just create one. And they have pre-made ones, that image generators, that Dolly. They have a whole lot of different creative writing coach, data analyst. There are a lot of different pre-programmed ones, so you're not just using the generic all the time.
Wonderful. We have a question from Piper Mack. Piper, are you there?
Hi, Samia. Thanks so much. Super exciting. I have been using ChatGPT super limited. I think like mostly as it relates to emails and validating that, the content is good. But from the PowerPoint conversion, right? Like you got the content, but can you show us how you from the content to the formatting?
Sure. So this was done under Google Slides. So blank presentation. I have an extension extensions, add on plus for AI, new presentation with plus AI. So that's not through ChatGPT, that's a different AI. Build your presentation with plus AI. So it's links into Google, and then you can just export it into PowerPoint. So we can actually use that same one. Here, remove the, where is this? Hang on, sorry, this things in my, we'll just create a blank one. Use a prompt. So let's gonna do, should we do an online course? Oh, here, they have a sample. Build a slide deck for an online course on how to set up Shopify store. Brick and mortar businesses. So you just say generate outline. It'll generate an outline, and then it'll literally do the entire thing, 100%. As mine was 100% generated by AI by that like 10-line prompt. I told it what I use it for, and it made all that. So that's why I use this Google Slides, that extension, and then I exported it to PowerPoints. It took all but 4 minutes.
Awesome, thanks.
You can go through here, benefits of selling online, et cetera. You can delete your slides, et cetera. Whatever you want, generate slides. What kind of, any sort of theme, that one looks okay. Generate presentation, and then that's it. It'll make it, and then you present it. And then you can go through it on the slide and say, I don't like this slide as much. You can type it out, modify this. You just write it and it'll do it. But that's what I did.
Dr. Solomon, was another question. I think you addressed it, but you had mentioned that you really didn't like the dictation software, but they were asking specifically about DMO or DAX. do you tend to like the dictation software capabilities?
Well, I meant dictation, sorry for my notes. I just use Mac dictation and train a bunch of words and it works fine. I've used the transcribing, I've tried it on Amazon Transcribe and such, but that's been the extent of that. Sometimes we'll have a bunch of phone calls that we need. I'll want to see what's going on, and because all our calls are recorded in the clinic, and so I'll have put in Amazon Transcribe and it'll transcribe it real quickly. But dictation, I don't really use. I just dictate my own notes and have a lot of templates, but I don't use it for dictation.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, so this is similar to what we just had. The theme and stuff, the layout, because that's what I used.
Yes, fantastic. Dr. Solomon, we're going to ask, I know you're busy where you are in your clinic. Can you hold on with us throughout the rest of the webinar?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic, because I know we're going to have more questions that will pop up. We're going to transition now. First of all, just tell you thank you. It's been awesome, fantastic, hand claps and everything floating through chat and throughout your presentation. We're going to turn it over to Dr. Danashi, who's going to step us into more uses of AI throughout various businesses.
Well, after this presentation, what I say is minimal, but some useful information here. Thank you, Dr. Solomon. And I'm going to talk about finance and banking for a small business. The first thing comes to your mind when you talk about a small business is credit rating, borrowing money, and a credit analysis. The traditional credit ratings by banks are done through your income, your banking relationship, your assets. With AI credit ratings, all these numbers are put aside, and we are looking at all the data that you generate through your interaction in social networking, say in LinkedIn, your browsing history, your interaction with other people online, on the internet. Practically, the rating is going to determine your risk, and they can determine your risk from your social network, from your other activities besides your banking. This is incredibly valuable for inclusion, somebody with no credit history, somebody that is starting a business. And no wonder you see a lot of companies with determine your credit ratings now. So they are not based on the traditional FICO requirements. These are different, and companies do give you loan based on AI credit ratings. I'll go through the rest very quickly. Personalization of customer relationship. When you have a business, a lot of time you want to see how to invest in your business. Dr. Solomon gave some examples of that through ChatGPT, but there are also AI tools that tells you, give me the risk that you can take, how much risk you can take, where you want to invest, how long do you want to invest, and it gives you ideas on that. On risk intermediation, withholding your financial products. This is very interesting because you have some inventory and you don't know whether you want to keep it or you want to pass it on, sell it. These AI tools will tell you which way is best for you based on the questions that they ask you. And the last one is real-time data, not financial data, but you make financial decisions by real-time data. These are non-traditional data. For example, a satellite will give you how many cars are in your parking lot. From this information that you get from satellite, for example, I can say whether Dr. Solomon's business is successful or not, how many cars are parked. or how many cars. If you want to choose whether to open your business, the location, you can look at satellite GPS data to see how crowded they are. This information is available. If you want to open a business, make sure your marketing person has that information. These are real-time data. You can get it at any time. So I'll go quickly into the next slide. We will look at who is holding? Okay. We will look at how AI is used in retail. One of the tools that Walmart is using, and you probably have seen it, is voice order service. The voice order service is an app, but it's an AI app. It keeps track of the history of what you have ordered. Businesses normally order similar stuff over and over. So it knows what you order, it knows what type, what quality, how much. So you can say here in this example, hey, Google, add orange juice to my cart. So it will come through and it tells you, hey, Lynn, this is Tropicana, whatever for that price is good for you. You can select it or you can reject it. It's up to you, or change it or ask for advice. Walmart uses a lot of, Walmart is one of the companies, you all know Amazon. You can check on what kind of experiences you have with retail. But in Walmart, you can have the app to plan a party for you. You know, that is planning a party can be done through ChatGPT as well, because they use generative AI. I have a business, I want to have a business party, I have that much expense and that many people to invite. So it plans. It has also images. You can send an image of your room and say, okay, look at it and make recommendation on how to decorate my room. You can accept or reject and move the things around till it gets it done. On assistant AI that is used in many retail, it helps the associates within the business to conduct daily routines. For example, you have noticed you go to a store and you can ask everybody's carrying one of those gadgets, which is an AI application inside, and they ask you, where do I find a bar of soap for bathroom? They immediately check and they can give you prices. It is voice activated, and you can go ahead and get what you want. They give you the price. With this tool, you can check what is my schedule next week. You can check and say, who is working in flower shop department today? All that information is at fingertip of every worker. And the most important for this security and safety these years, it can give you emergency alerts. You can get notified that there is some incident happening at real time. So with your orders in the store, you can plan it, you can check it, you can add, delete, and you can also order to deliver. Now, to deliver, I'll pass it on to Michael Hayden to say how we deliver to AI.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tahira. That's a great transition. Hello, everyone. I just want to let everyone know Amazon is actually going to start drone deliveries in Arizona this year. So shifting from California to Arizona. Certain areas in Arizona are going to be able to have same-day delivery. And they're going to be delivering from Tulsa, Arizona. I guess it's about 13 miles west of Phoenix. So Amazon can, right now they're testing this new MK30 drones that they'll use. They use AI. They're a lot quieter, they can fly farther, and they can operate in diverse weather conditions. But what Amazon calls prime air, it aims to really get packages that are 5 pounds or less to customers in about 30 minutes. So interestingly enough, the top items that are delivered are batteries, which I need those right now. I have some, I wish I could have batteries in less than 30 minutes without leaving my work or my house. drugstore products, which obviously are very important, as you can, see within the arena. And Dr. Solomon, I do want to thank you as well, coming back to your professionalism and supporting and the university, and also sharing that your wisdom. Appreciate all that. And then also the final thing in the top items are beauty supplies. Those are the top 3 items being delivered by drones right now. But for businesses, AI deliveries and drones, they're just a game changer in lag time, keeping costs down, and helping the triple bottom line, the 3 Ps: people, planet, and profit. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be giving you guys a brief introduction to Copilot. So introduction to Copilot. So Copilot is a conversational. As you can see, we can talk right into Copilot if you were here with the last our last session. But it's a chat interface that lets you search for specific topics, generate text, images, all different types of prompts, as well as it with Microsoft, it really specifies some of the business attributes, including creating programs, programming, PowerPoint slides, and integrates with a lot of the Office products as well. I'm going to be sharing quickly. I'm going to be going into a free Copilot. So there's a lot of different Copilots. The first Copilot, this is a free version. As you can see, it limits to about 4,000 words, and you can ask it anything. You can create different conversation styles: creative, balanced, precise. And again, you can just begin on your own with this free version. I think we're going to put that in the chat. This is more of like a chat bot than anything. But if you get the paid version, whether it's for business, that's an add-on that businesses can pay. That professional version integrates your company and develops your own models. It's also very secure, so your information doesn't go out publicly. But what I'm going to share with you is my personal bot right here. So I'm using a web-based app for Copilot. And this is just a very, very simple summary of a document. So we're gonna utilize Copilot to modify and work on this document right here. So this is a 5-page report. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at this ribbon bar. Just like any other ribbon bar in any of the Microsoft products, you hover over it and you can see the specifics of the different apps that are the different functions that can be used. And this is Copilot. It looks like sort of a sort of a trigonomic 8 shape. So let's click on that, and you can see here it goes. Right here on the right, we have a Copilot, and this Copilot just kind of waits here for me. I can chat, and it'll answer questions about this particular document specifically. I can summarize. Here's some questions. One thing that I would note is this little icon. You can view prompts. So let's just take a quick look at what else Copilot can do. One is you can speak into it utilizing the microphone. But with this, you can ask it different prompts about understanding. And also, if you go into ask, you can ask it specific questions about what's going on and improve it. Also, look at the different prompts that are available. This is a Copilot lab. So inside of here, it brings us into a whole lot of different prompts that we can do. We're not going to go into Copilot labs right now. Just wanted to show you some of the interesting features that you can utilize: drafting emails, adding slides, creating plans, summarizing different items. So let's go back over here. We'll close out this prompting, and let's start off with my document here. So one thing that I notice is I don't necessarily like this this text that kind of describes what I'm looking for. So this is a Meta VR, and it's user based, and a report on its current state and future prospects of Meta VR and its social VR platform workrooms. So I want to change that. So if I highlight that, you can see Copilot pops up over here on the left, and I'm able to do some other things. I just want to maybe rewrite this a little something more accurate to what this may be, or I can also rewrite that later once I update and modify this document. But as you can see, I have a second version. This is just a review of the present situation, so I like that. I'll insert that below. Maybe I'll highlight that and keep that for a minute. And then we go into a few other tools here. Let me close out Copilot here for a second, and I'm going to use this designer tool. Let's make this a little fancier and maybe add in a picture or two. All right, so here we go. So automatically Copilot allows me and Microsoft allows me to choose from some different graphics. Let's just choose this one for speed's sake. And it's going to apply a design to this. It's changing some of the reporting, coloration. I'm going to really quickly modify this. Let's go back to our insert. And we'll change this picture to something more appropriate, maybe a stock image with virtual reality. Let's try virtual VIRT. Okay, I like that one. That looks pretty good. So we can modify and swap out images. Let's resize that. Okay. So just to begin, we have from a basic script, we have a little bit more intuitive and more appealing document. One of the really neat things that I like, I think I'm going to scroll down into where we have some more numbers, but let's take this section on what was this topic called? This one was called Meta VR and Workrooms, the user base and statistics, which is really what I was looking for. And let's take this section right here. And let's turn this section into a visualize this as a table. And so while this is working, I'm going to go ahead and close out the designer section and get back into the Copilot. Just in case I want to add a few things, I can also ask it, maybe about other topics. So it generated this table for me. And I think what I want to do is I want to add another product. It looks like I have some products, but I don't have an Oculus Quest 3. So let's add a product. 3. Let's see if it'll do that. So it's refining that draft of that document that I had, or of that chart that we created. And that is an Excel chart. So we can modify that and change that. Yep, see, there it goes. So now I'll have more room when I do more research to add in different topics, such as the number of users. I could ask that. I'll keep that version of it. That's pretty neat. I like that. And there's some more information I may want to. Let's take a look at this right here. Let's do another table just quickly. I don't have a whole lot of time here, but let's also do visualize this as a table and see what happens. We don't have as many numbers, but let's see what effect comes out. And in conclusion, I think I think I should maybe as a whole summarize this whole doc. So once this pops up, okay, this is nice, but I want maybe this to be let's fine tune this and let's put this as a let's make this a vertical. Yeah, let's TI. If I could spell, there we go. Let's make this a vertical chart. Let's see what happens here. It's pulling some things together. It does take a few seconds, but yeah, so now we have a little bit more of a, I guess you could say more of a spreadsheet and on similarities. Maybe I like the way it was. I can also, go back, I can keep it, I can trash that table. And in conclusion, I could add in a longer conclusion. I can summarize the whole doc and maybe get a better conclusion, ideally more geared towards what I want it to be. And that in itself is just a quick version of Copilot for Word. And with that, I want to pass this back to Dr. Ivy. Thank you so much.
Wow, simply fantastic. Michael, Dr. Solomon, Dr. Danashi, all this information has simply been wonderful and mind-boggling just to see how we can use AI tools to enhance us in our business processes. I wanted to open it up, and I know we're at the top of the hour, so I want to tell everyone we are recording the session. We're going to continue on to close out just some good content. Before anyone drops, I do want to remind everyone of our Part 3 webinar. I just placed it in the chat. That will be held May 15th. Be there, do not be square. We're talking about using AI tools to enhance leadership. competency, confidence, experience as well. And so be sure to copy or go straight to the link and go ahead and register if you haven't already. If anyone needs to drop, that's okay. I will be sending out the recording of the session to all attendees. For everyone who's hanging in there, let's continue. Q&A. Chat panelists, do we have any questions rolling in chat? Okay, if not, then I'm going to go ahead to the next slide, informational. Michael. I already highlighted the next slide as well, part 3 of the 3-part series, which is on leadership. The information is there on the details, but we're going to be going through how to use AI tools to enhance leadership and to enhance leadership practices as well. Next slide, Michael. We have a survey that's open. This is part of our UFP grant that we're doing. And the survey is really focusing on how we can use AI tools to help build our self-confidence, to help build our leadership self-confidence as well. Part of that research, we have a survey, and we're asking if you haven't completed it, go ahead, go out there and complete the survey. One of the benefits that we're offering as well is one-on-one sessions with individuals who would like to have individual sessions where we will step through what areas do you want to increase for your self-confidence, what areas do you want to increase for your leadership self-confidence, and work with you on these are the AI tools you can use to actually get that done. And so if you haven't completed that survey, go ahead and do it. It doesn't take too long to go through the questions, and then be sure to follow up. Right in the survey is where you'll leave your name, your information, and we will get back in contact with you to schedule that one-on-one session. Don't miss out on that. Next slide, Michael. Just going on, and we want to emphasize to you at the University of Arizona Global Campus, we have several artificial intelligence emphasis. They are all listed here. When I send out the recording of this session, I'll send out this information as well. If you are a student in UAGC and you are not currently engaging in AI courses, AI emphasis, we have seen from this session you don't want to miss out on that. That can actually be that extra that takes you above others in your work environment, help you to boost your organization, help you to take your business to the next level. So don't miss out on these AI emphasis and courses that we're offering at the University of Arizona Global Campus that can really boost you in your position as well in your career path. Next slide. We also offer several courses that deal with drones. Drones and AI is current and our future. And as Michael took us through the use of drones for delivery, the use of drones for security, the use of drones for collecting data then that can be analyzed, it is used in several different ways. Well, at the University of Arizona, we have several drone emphasis as well, which are listed there, and that information can be shared with you as well to help to tip off your career preparation. Don't miss out on knowing how you can integrate drones to enhance your business position as well. Next slide. We have several technology programs at the University of Arizona Global Campus, which we are so proud of. If technology is not your area, just know that, and we all know, technology is used in absolutely everything that we do. And so if you are a student and you want to enhance your learning direction as well, there are electives that you can take that can boost your knowledge and application of technology tools and advance your understanding of technology as well. Check those out on our UAGC website. Next slide, Michael. Contact us. We are here to be a resource to you. Everything that we have talked about, we're sharing this out. And we're sharing this out because we know the essence and importance of understanding AI tools, understanding how to use it individually in your business environment, for your leadership capacity, expanding that as well. Do not hesitate from reaching out to us if you do have a question or you want additional information. Now, Andrea has a hand raised. Andrea, I'm going to try to find you because I think that is a new hand raise. And I'm going to ask you, Andrea, go ahead with your question.
Hi, everybody. It's Andrea. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us, everyone. We went over the benefits of AI in the workforce, but I'm curious to know what roadblocks have you all experienced with incorporating AI into your businesses? Just asking from the perspective of a business owner.
Fantastic. Let's see, Dr. Solomon, are you still on board?
No, I'm here. It was a perspective. I'm sorry, I missed the question. What did she ask?
She was
Oh.
asking, did you run into any roadblocks in integrating AI into the business environment?
Not really. No, it actually, once we showed the staff how to use it, what I did is, when they would send me saying, Doc, what do I do with this claim? It's being denied. I would put it in, I would send them the template in ChatGPT. I was like, write this in there and then show me the results. And once I started doing that, I would just write it out for them, like type this in ChatGPT, send it in, let me see the results, now attach the medical records. And so not really.
And Dr. Solomon, would you say that the training of staff was pretty simple, pretty
Oh, yeah.
easy?
It's super, super simple. Yeah, it probably took longer to install Grammarly on everyone's computer as opposed to, opening a ChatGPT account.
Yes, and I would echo that. And I know in the chat, somebody was asking a question, how can I get access on something to introduce me into using AI? And I definitely pointed them toward the webinar first one that we did, because we did hands-on examples of the use of AI. Watching that, you will see, and following along with that, just how simple it is to learn and to use AI tools. And that's what I would say too. You learn by experience. And so opening an OpenAI account, you can do that for free. If you don't have one, open it and begin using it as well. And you'll see how easy it is to learn how to use various AI tools. Dr. Solomon, someone asked the question previously regarding you or an instructor as well in your busy schedule, correct?
As an instructor?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Sorry.
Do you teach students in the medical school?
Oh, I used to at university. I kind of slowed down on that.
Right.
It's just having the clinics too busy.
Yeah, due to your busy schedule. I guess we can do hypothetical. What they were asking was, how would you feel about students, if they were your students, using AI tools as
Oh,
for their assignments? Mhm.
yeah, that'd be great. Um, I think, yeah, I mean, if it looks good, I know I've messed around with it before. Sometimes I punch my own letters that I write. There's this AI, it's detector, I think, online, where you put in the verbiage and you put it in the AI detector and it'll tell you chance of it being AI. And it's pretty accurate. Although I will say I've tried different, there are other, I guess, competitors, ChatGPT, and I've tried it in, punched it in that. And sometimes it would say, no, it's not AI. And I was like, oh, that's really, really good. But I like to, customize it a little bit. I don't send all my letters, but when I want something formal, I'll definitely plug it in and modify it a little bit, so it doesn't sound so AI generated.
And similarly, we provide that same message as well in our learning and space here at the university. Several of our courses, we're beginning to integrate AI tools into those courses, the exercises, but we're letting all students know that does not replace your voice.
Yeah.
Does not, right? That is not saying I'm going to copy straight from a tool and that's my work. No, students are required to use their own voice. Any tool is just that, is a tool, right? It's a recommended direction of information. And we do encourage students, take information from an AI tool, tear it apart, see if it's really the best direction. Identify how you may alter what AI suggests as well, right? To make it your own voice.
Yeah, no, and I think sometimes this AI generated stuff, it sounds so verbatim and just annoying in my opinion. So I sometimes I delete things, modify it. It's way better. I don't like it when it's pure AI, but also if you write like AI, keep it very concise. Sometimes it sounds really good.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see, panelists, did I overlook any questions? Looks like we got them all. Hold on, there's something in QA. That was a thank you. Okay, in QA. All right, well, I would like to say once again, thank you to our panel. Thank you, Dr. Solomon. Your demos have been just great. We had so many kudos and everything flying. I couldn't keep up with reading them. But to be able to hear from you, someone who's integrating right into your real world, right, experience in your practice was just awesome. And then thanks to Dr. Donashi and to Michael Hayton for sharing with us, expanding even how other businesses are integrating AI into the business space for success. Guys, this has been wonderful. For everyone who contributed in chat with your questions and your comments, fantastic. Look out for the video as we do the final edits on this and share it out to everyone. And do not miss May 15th, mark it on your calendar for our last of the part 3 series from the University of Arizona Global Campus, Artificial Intelligence Integration to Enhance Your Leadership Self-Efficacy. Take care, everyone. Everyone, remember, you are awesome. You are fantastic. Go and let the world see. Goodbye.